Hi everybody, it's Adam from LUCIDPIXUL, and today I would like to have a talk with you about gearing your portfolio, the type of work you do, towards the type of work that you're looking to do. And I'm very often approached with this question from people focused more on the quality of the work rather than the type of work, how they're actually putting their work together in a functional way depending on the type of work that they're looking at. We're not going to look so much at the technical skill, the artistic skill today, as much as we are going to look at how focused is your particular portfolio. So if we take one example right off the top of the bat, currently I'm working in trading card games. If we look at that particular type of work, what is a card? What kind of artwork am I actually producing? It's not just doing fantasy art. So to give you a little example here, I just have one World of Warcraft trading card game. I haven't actually played it, but the artwork, of course, is lovely. It is Blizzard after all, okay? So if we look at this card, let me see if we can see it in the viewfinder. Let me see whatever that, let's do a little peek, okay? You can see this card, okay? Now it might be a little bit overexposed here, okay? But look at this card, all right? What do you see? This card is called Nera Lifebloom, okay? What does that mean? Well, the name of this card is the name of a character, right? So would it make any sense if I was doing a trading card of Nera Lifebloom, okay, if I was doing a trading card of this girl, of this character, that I had a big environment and there was Nera way off in the distance fishing? Well, no, it wouldn't make any sense, would it? Because this is a character card. So that means that this character has to be up front and center. She's got to be taking up most of the real estate on this image, right? Think about it. She's got to be up close and personal so that when we see the card called Nera Lifebloom, I look and I see Nera Lifebloom in all of her heavenly glory and detail, right? Depending on the type of trading card game that you're working on, generally speaking, in trading card games, you have one of two different types of cards, right? And whatever the card you're working on is going to put emphasis on whatever the subject is. So if I'm producing an illustration, if I wanted to create a portfolio for trading card games, for instance, and let's say I'm more of a character artist, then my portfolio should reflect that. When I'm doing my artwork, I want my character to be up close and personal. I want that character to take up all the real estate in my image, and the environment is only going to be a complement. It's going to add context to my character. So if we look at this character, I see Nera, okay? I see Nera Lifebloom, okay? And you might not be able to see it in the image, but in the background there's a little suggestion of a moonwell, all right? With the kind of the shrine and maybe a bit of a moonwell off in the distance with a little bit of elven architecture, okay? Night elves, whatever. Now, there are many other artists that work in trading card games, okay? And if, like, just to take an artist just off the top of my head, think of Noah Bradley, okay? Noah Bradley, a very well-known artist in our field, okay? He's very good at painting characters, but as you can tell by looking at his work, he's more of an environment, landscape-focused artist. So when he works, generally speaking, if he's going to be working on a card, in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases, it's very focused on the environment itself. The subject is that landscape. The subject is that environment. If and when there are any characters in those types of environments, in those types of illustrations, they are small suggestive characters to put context and scale into his environment piece. But it's focused on the environment itself. And furthermore, the environment isn't just a generic environment. That environment has an identity. So it's essentially an environment-centric piece, and the characters add context to the environment. If you look at what most of the cards that I do are usually more character focused, where it's character centric with a little bit of environment to add context and depth to the character. Now let's look at another type of career. Let's think about concept art for video games. Why are they hiring an artist? What's the artist's job? Well, we do have character designers, and we do have vehicle designers, and we do have prop designers like weapons and all that kind of stuff. But that actually takes up a very small percentage of the big picture of what goes on in a game studio. The majority, the brunt of the work that happens in a video game studio is usually set design or environment concept art that has a particular focus in mind. And that focus is is immersiveness. It's creating an environment that has a strong sense of identity. It's an environment that's focused on immersing the character. So very often it takes a very first-person perspective, right? So that we're actually looking through the scene, and that's going to give ideas to the designers and to the 3D modelers that are going to be modeling this scene, so that it's going to give them ideas on how they can plan out their game design throughout the scene. Okay, I'm going to sneeze. My daughter Emily said, touch your tongue to the roof of your mouth if you're going to sneeze. Let me see if this works. So far, so good. Yeah. What was I talking about? Video games. Okay. So in most cases, we're thinking about the immersion of this particular type of environment and how we can identify what one type of environment versus another. A good example is, think about World of Warcraft. You know, like all of these different environments. Every single one of these environments had a different type of identity, right? Hellrock Peninsula, Zangar Marsh, Ashenvale, Barrens. And the concept artist was focused on this. What's the mood? What's the feel? What's the overall landscape? How is this designed? What's the emphasis? And, you know, and in certain areas we have these tall rocks. In other areas it's completely flat. If we go into Ashenvale, it's beautiful, lyrical, and very romantic with these lush greenery, okay, very immersive. All these different types of environments have a different emphasis. And furthermore, any character design that's done is, from a graphic design perspective, is related to that environment. So the same graphic design language is going to be integrated not only into the environment, but into the character as well. Now let's look at film. Well, film concept art very often puts emphasis on a particular type of scene, a particular type of mood. It's more designed to set that mood and landscape for that particular piece. It's not so much about where's my character going to go. It's more of how am I setting a stage for my acting. The other type of art that you're going to get very often for film, which is much more functional, is matte painting. And matte painting is a backdrop, a huge landscape backdrop. Think of Lord of the Rings. Their actual live studio set of the rocks and stuff like that. But then there's this big vast landscape off in the background. Now in some cases they're gifted with the beautiful landscape of New Zealand, right? If you have this magical epic landscape, chances are that landscape could not necessarily exist in real life. It's a little bit too fantastical. That's where matte painters come in. So they work with a lot of photo collage. They aim more towards realistic style lighting, realistic textures, photo textures, that kind of thing, to create a very, very realistic backdrop to their scene, so that then when they bring live action and green screen in a matte painting into that, it fits in seamlessly. So that's what the emphasis is on. Okay, if you look at design, look at the type of stuff that they do at the FZD School of Design, Feng Zhu's school. It's functional, technical design. And design means you are actually building a set conceptually before it actually gets built in real life. It's mech designs, vehicle designs, environment designs, all of these things that are done with a lot of emphasis on the technicality. And that's something that's going to be hand delivered directly to the 3D department and modeled into a mechanical design. So their focus is on technical accuracy. A concept artist in the other case is just trying to establish mood, setting, that type of idea. In every single one of these cases, you have a different emphasis and a different particular focus. And depending on the type of artist that you are, okay, let's say you're just really a big character artist and you love fantasy characters, then don't put yourself through the torture of trying to do these big immersive landscapes. Your emphasis, your focus is on character. So everything that you're building, all of these different things are going into this package, so that when you create your portfolio, it's going to be a series of very solid, well-defined character designs where that character is taking up all the real estate on the image with a little bit of a suggestion of a background. Are you going to make a portfolio of landscape shots? Sure, if you want to, but what's the purpose? Because all of your artwork is going to end up in a 2.5 by 2.5 card. Most of your imagery is going to be in a relatively square composition. Where I'm working at Fantasy Flight Games, that's how it works. It works like that for Wizards of the Coast. It works like that for Blizzard. Okay, for World of Warcraft, same deal. Get comfortable in working in those particular types of dimensions, because that's the kind of stuff you're going to do. If you want to do book illustrations, generally speaking, you're getting your 8.5 by 11 type shot. This is the kind of dimension that you might get used to. You might do landscape, but in most cases, most people don't read a book like that, right? Most people don't read a book like this. Most people read a book like that, okay? And then, of course, the first page I opened to completely contradicts what I was talking about. You get the full page spread, okay? When you're doing video game art or film concept art or matte painting, those dimensions are very important. Very high res, because that's going to be blown up onto a huge screen. So look at, if I look at this card, I'm looking at what is this artist focused on? Dynamic body postures, definitely an understanding of anatomy and rendering out different types of materials. Attitude in the face, you got to learn to paint those faces. And you're not just going to do a wizard that's doing a magical spell and he's going to have a face like this. It's not very engaging. You want to have a like this, like something very fierce, or romantic. You got to get very expressive and elven, with the wicked type of eyelashes and stuff. Like, get into that. Start to understand that facial expressions and body language become a huge thing if you're going to be doing that kind of artwork as well. Okay. With that said, remember that I have my online mentorship, LUCIDPIXUL. I always leave the information in the description of the video, and I'd like to hear back from you this time for two reasons. One, what kind of talks would you like me to discuss in the future? Because you guys always leave some really awesome feedback and have really good ideas for talks as well. But I'm also interested to know, what type of career are you looking into? And what type of art, if I haven't discussed it already, what type of art and criteria are needed in the type of work that you want, that you're interested in doing as well? So don't forget to like and subscribe. Get in touch with me if you're interested in the mentorship. And of course, as always, happy painting. Take care, everybody.